Hi Julie, what's here? Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're looking at the Sentimentally Yours Layered Differently, the second release. And we're going to do a kind of a male themed card on this one. And we're focusing mainly on the new Exquisite rectangles. And there are 11 dies in this set. It's an A5 set, so it comes with a magnetic sheet. And as always, you've got two layering dies which then fit onto the A5, and then you've got a layering shape in the middle and some extra bits for embellishments and sentiments. And you will find them over on my website juliawattscrafts.co.uk and also over at Phil's store, which is honeypotcrafts.co.uk. So for this card, I'm teaming it up with the dies up with one of the papers from the Vintage Rust A4 Creative Pack, and hopefully you can see what I've done here. I've taken the largest bit one of the shaped outer edges here, and I've cut that, and at the same time I have cut the largest die from the patterns. Then I've cut the next but one, so I missed one, I've cut that. So I've done this all at the same time, and then I've missed one, and then I've cut that. So lining it up properly, obviously this isn't properly, but lining it up properly, I popped all 4 dies through my die cutting machine at the same time. Then we end up with back. We end up with something that you can use as is if you want to. So you could just ink around the edges and actually pop them back in again, and you'll see the edges because you've inked around the edges, and it gives a really cool look. But we're not going to do that, of course we're not. We're going to do something slightly different. So I'm not actually going to use this one. So this one I could use another time, but you can see we've been very frugal with our paper. So I'll put that to one side before I get myself really confused. So what I've done is I have cut the largest of the dies out of Chocolate Bliss cards. So that's going to go on there like that. Okay. Then I've cut the largest of the shape dies out of pure white card, and that's going to just slot in place like that. I think it's gone in. I'm not sure if Phil's done this thing where he changes them so they don't fit properly. There we go. I think that's in now. Anyway, doesn't really matter. That's in like that. Okay. Just to set it off. Then I've cut the next size die out of Chocolate Bliss card. And remember we did we missed 2 dies and then cut our borders out, and then this one is going to go here. So you can see the Chocolate Bliss has set that off. Then I've cut the smallest but one of the shape dies out of Chocolate Bliss again, and that's going to go in there like that. And then I've got my image, my smallest image, and that's going to go on there like that. So as I've done quite often, you can see that the actual image is kind of moving through the die cuts, and I really like that. We are going to change the orientation as well. We're going to have it that way up because I can. I think that looks fab. But what we are going to do is we're going to do some inking around the edges, but we're going to use gesso. So we're going to just add, and I tell you why, because I want to use some of the embellishments. Do I? Yes, I think I do. I'm not sure now. I was going to use some embellishments from the Vintage Rust as well. Yeah, I think we will. and they've already got gesso on them, so obviously because I want to use them, I've got to gesso everything. So let's get our gesso out. So this is Flawless Media from Sentimentally Yours, and it's the white gesso, which lasts forever. Well, probably won't, but it does last a very, very long time. So I'm just going to pop a little bit on my craft sheet. In fact, no, we're going to just take it from the lid. That'd be the easiest thing to do, and then we won't waste any at all. So I've got one of these blending tool things, and we're just going to make all these cogs from the creative pack look the same. It just adds a little bit to it, and when we go around the edges of the die cuts as well, it'll make them pop a wee bit. I had all these all pre-cut, and I thought, well, I might as well use them. And it's amazing, I wasn't sure where this card was going until I changed it to be landscape rather than portrait. I'm getting gesso all over my fingers now. I've probably got a bit too much on this blending tool. You can use the blend it tool again and again. It's obviously we can just wash that out in water. Oh, I've got two there together. Two dinky ones. Obviously not the tool, the sponge thing. So I'm thinking about what I've got to do next, and so my brain isn't focusing on both of those things. Right, so as it dries, it darkens up a bit. You can add some more if you want to. Remember, gesso is a base for you to add lots of different colours of paints and things like that. So you could, if you wanted to, add Distress Oxide on the top of this if you wanted. So now we're going to gesso around the edges of this. And we can come in quite a bit if we want to, as seems to have happened. It will highlight the piercing a little bit more as well, which isn't a bad thing. Okay, so when that goes on the brown now, just kind of grunges it up a bit. Now we don't need to go around the inside of this because we won't see it, but we go around the outside. And if you've seen some of my videos with the creative packs where I've done pop-out cards, remember you can use these shapes to do your pop-outs as well. I do prefer the A5 pop-outs, they're my favourites. So the rectangles are brilliant for that. I haven't made one with these yet, but certainly when I come to do my workshop in June, it will be featured in some of the kits, or the new rectangles will be featured in some of the kits. So you don't, not using much gesso, teeny tiny bit. And then it'll stand out more from the Chocolate Bliss card as well. Again, if you don't like it, don't do it. Just use the die cuts with the Chocolate Bliss card as is. It does look fab like that. As I said, I've already cut out some of the cogs and they got gesso around them, and that's why we're putting gesso around these. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done. But obviously I want everything to match. Okie dokie. So that's all those all done. Pop on my gesso. there. Tidy this up, just in case I dip something in it that doesn't want to be in it. I think Scorched Timber Distress Oxide would work well with this as well. Okie dokie, let's start putting some of this together. So first of all we want our base image, and the cogs are on the left. Don't want much glue because you don't want your card to go all kinky. We'll take some around the edges though, or the inside edges. Okay. There's my tweezers, that'll help me. It's not as robust when it's got no centre to it. It needs to go up a bit more. Okay, that'll do. And then we're going to pop our white piece in the centre. Could raise it up, but I'm just going to slot it in. I don't want too many layers, too many raised layers. And the white's here just to make it pop a little bit. So our sentiment will go on white and our base layer's white, so it's fine having a bit of white here. Okay, so we'll pop that underneath here to flatten, and then we've got this layer here, and we need to put this one on here like so. Just a thin layer. Oh, moved it. Doesn't matter if glue goes in the centre bit because it's going to get covered up. I do want my points to line up. You're being awkward. Yes, yes, you're being awkward, so stop it. Right. Does anybody else talk to their die cuts? Or is it just me? Am I the only balmy one? Don't answer that. Right. You see that gesso's really kind of set it off around the edges. Okay, that's that one. I don't think that needs to go underneath. And then we've got our front, my top one. I put a little dot where the top was. Of course, once we glue it down, we won't see that dot anymore. So if you draw with your glue, then you can control how much is coming out. So push it into the card rather than having it drip. Let's go in there. Let's go to the top, pointing nicely. Cool. Okay. Should we stamp our sentiment while we're at it? So for the sentiment panel, I've used the other rectangle set. So this is the Magnificence rectangles, and it's got this pair of elongated ovals, which is great for a sentiment. And this is the one with the rounded edge to it. So obviously for my base, I could have used these if I wanted to, because these will fit. And I could use these if I wanted to, because you can mix and match across the sets. So we're going to be using Pinecone Versafine Clair. And we're going to use a sentiment out of the from the Heart Sentiments, the Just Saying Rustic from the Heart Sentiments, and we're going to use Be Your Amazing Self. Pick it up onto a block. I haven't got another one of these cut, so I hope I do it right. So we want it sort of in the middle, sort of straight. That's where it's sort of going. I'm not pressing on it really hard, I'm just holding it just for a few seconds. I'm going to pick it up and take it off. There we go. Fab. And we will have one of these either side on there to fill that out, little cogs. That's the plan anyway. Obviously I'm not going to gesso around the edge of this because you wouldn't see it. And I'm not going to bring in any other ink either. We're just going to stick this on here and hope we don't smudge the ink. Cool. And while we're at it, we might as well glue those little cogs that I intended to use as well. Might as well add them in. They're like little flowers, aren't they? The teeny tiny ones. And do you want to do opposites? There like that. Okay. So if you've got something too big for your sentiment, just add a cog or a flower, wherever you want. Obviously a flower wouldn't work with this one, but right. So now we can construct. So I've got my base layer down here, which needs to go on my A5 card blank. You know, have a bit of imagination. Pretend it is an A5 card blank. I do have a demo planned with a proper A5 card. Not a pop out, not this time, but a proper A5 card. But obviously I can get twice as many A5s if I don't add those proper cards out of my card. And when it goes to the studio it doesn't matter anyway. Put that in the middle. So this is 2mm foam tape. And I do need to remember that I'm doing that orientation. I'm so used to doing the other orientation. I need to remember I'm doing it this way. It could be either way, but I felt it worked better with the sentiment this way. Put some Prit on so we can move it if I don't get it straight. Way opposite got to go. It's got to go with the cogs at the bottom. Cogs at the bottom? Yes, the plain bit at the top. I don't think it really matters with this paper. We're saying it won't. Aim that straight. And then we want, this one's going to go on here. Cogs at the bottom. And we'll have some more green tape. Another one bites the dust. Moved it round so it needs to go in the bottom. Do a point to point. Nice. And our top layer. Print. You don't use loads of Prit doing this actually. I'm still on my same tube that I was on ages ago. Right, so this is at the bottom again. So then this is going to go, again we've got that point to point, an even gap. Like so. It looks fab, doesn't it? I think it looks wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Right, so then we are going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we're going to pop our sentiment in the middle there, like so. We'll put that on a piece of 2mm as well. So I've got only one. See if we can get it evenish. Like so, I think that's good. And we could stop there, but like I say, I've got these cogs and I am wondering whether I'm going to use them or not, because they are going to get in the way a bit, because we've got tape everywhere. Maybe I should have popped them. Although I could stick them. I could just nestle them in a bit. How does this look? We could do that. Let's do that. Right, so we do need a bit of 2mm on the back. See, because I don't use glue gel, it's a little bit of a challenge to do this. But, you know, if you do use glue gel, then you're going to be fine, aren't you? So let's have a bit of glue as well. If we wanted them further in, we could actually cut a couple of the... cut. You see, I've just chopped some of that off, just so I can tuck it in a little bit more. Hopefully that's not a mistake. Where was I going to do it? I was going to tuck it in there, wasn't I? I think it needs to be up a bit more. I do wish I'd got some 1mm. Is that going to be too much now, I wonder? It's because of the thickness of the card as well. I think we'll get away with that. Right, so we do need a bit more on here. It's all very well laying things out, but when you, by the time you've got, what's it called? By the time you put foam tape on the back, it all changes. Right, so now if we go here, like so. And then we should be able to just nestle that in. I don't think we need to put any foam tape on the back of this. We're just going to slot it in. Like that. Yeah. Right, and we're going to do the same with this. It's a bit like, it reminds me a bit of, you know, the Nautilus, the Jules Verne thing. Like a bit like a submarine. Don't ask me where I got that from. No idea. Obviously it's optional, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. You don't have to do any of it. Right, so we're going to stick that one down there. It doesn't have to be even. That's going to go there like that. And then this one I'll go... This one could go up further. Take a bit of that off. Don't be frightened to cut into your die cuts. Not your die cuts, your embellishments. And your die cuts actually. Right, where are we at now? Swipe that over there, which I forgot to do on the other one. That's going to go there, and then we can just slot this one in there like that. So this one won't need anything other than glue. There we go. I think he's done. I'm not going to put any pearls on this. This is a guide card and we've got all those cogs. So what do you think? Think it looks quite cool? Or do you think that looks weird? You can always leave that off. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. As I said, you'll find the products over on my website, juliawattscrafts.co.uk, as long as we've still got stock. and also over at Honeypot Crafts as well. And do like and subscribe on my YouTube channel, which is where you are now. Lots and lots and lots and lots of videos on there with Sentimentally Yours products and lots more to come. And thank you for watching.